3 out of every 4. That's how many Florida towns are right now losing value, quietly, month after month, while the rest of America's home prices keep climbing. Let that sink in. The sunshine paradise everyone's been chasing for 20 years? Zillow just issued a fresh warning, and the numbers are brutal. 22 of Florida's 29 major markets are forecast to drop in value over the next 12 months. But here's the part that should scare you. One town on this list is falling so fast, so hard, it's now posting the single biggest home price crash in the entire United States. We're talking double digits, gone, in a single year. If you're about to buy in Florida, or if you already own a home there thinking it's safe, stop. Watch this first, because the last 3 towns, almost nobody sees them coming. Number 10. Lakeland. Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is Lakeland, that fast-growing city sitting right in the sweet spot between Tampa and Orlando. For years, this was the smart buyer's secret. Close to the theme parks, close to the beaches, but with prices that felt almost too good to be true. Well, that fairy tale is starting to crack. According to Zillow's home value forecast, Lakeland's median list price is projected to slip about another 1% over the coming year, sliding toward roughly $327,000. And that's after it already fell nearly 3% in the last 12 months alone. 2 years of decline stacked back to back. That's not a coincidence. That's a trend. So what's actually happening here? One word: oversupply. During the pandemic boom, builders looked at Lakeland's location and went absolutely wild. Cranes everywhere, fresh subdivisions sprouting out of the ground almost overnight. But here's the brutal math. They built for a wave of buyers that simply never fully arrived. As one global advisor from Sotheby's International Realty put it plainly, Lakeland now has an inventory glut and a noticeable uptick in foreclosures. Read that again. Foreclosures, going up. When homes sit unsold and owners start walking away, prices have only one direction to go, and it isn't up. Picture it, street after street of for sale signs, some fading in that relentless Florida sun, sellers quietly slashing prices hoping someone, anyone, will bite. That's the reality on the ground in parts of Lakeland right now. Here's your practical takeaway. If you're a buyer in this market, this is not a warning, it's an opportunity. A town drowning in excess inventory hands you the power. Don't be shy. Negotiate hard. Ask for a lower price. Request closing cost credits. Demand repairs before you sign. Sellers here are competing for you now. But if you own in Lakeland, understand your equity may sit flat or dip for a while. Patience is your best friend. Number 9. Deltona. At number 9, we head northeast to Deltona, that busy bedroom community sitting in the corridor between Orlando and Daytona Beach. For a long time, Deltona was the answer for families priced out of the big cities. Close enough to the action, far enough to be affordable. But affordability, it turns out, was exactly what got stretched too thin. The numbers tell a sobering story. Deltona has already dropped a painful 3.6% over the past year, one of the steeper 12-month declines on this entire list. And Zillow doesn't see relief coming. The forecast calls for roughly another 1% drop, dragging the median list price down toward $376,000. So this isn't a market catching its breath. This is a market still sliding. The real villain here is affordability strain. During the boom, Deltona prices shot up fast, really fast. But local wages? They crawled. They didn't come anywhere close to keeping pace with those surging home prices. And when the gap between what people earn and what homes cost stretches too wide, the pool of buyers who can actually qualify for a mortgage starts shrinking. Fewer buyers means weaker demand. Weaker demand means falling prices. It's simple, and it's relentless. Imagine a hardworking local family, doing everything right, watching home prices float further and further out of reach, until suddenly, the market runs out of people who can pay. That's the tipping point Deltona is dancing on right now. Here's your practical takeaway, and it's one you'll hear again on this list because it matters that much. Always watch the gap between local incomes and local home prices. When a town's homes cost dramatically more than what typical residents actually earn, that market is fragile, built on a foundation that can crumble the moment demand cools. Deltona is flashing that warning light bright red. If you're buying here, run the numbers on what local salaries can truly support, not what the listing agent tells you it's worth. Number 8. Jacksonville. Number 8 is a heavyweight. The biggest name we've hit so far, Jacksonville, Florida's most populous city, sprawling across the northeast corner of the state, packed with jobs, beaches, and that big city energy. If any market should feel bulletproof, it's this one, right? And yet, here it sits, on Zillow's warning list. Even with all that size, all that demand, all that momentum, Zillow's home value forecast projects Jacksonville home prices will fall about 1%, pulling the median toward roughly $391,000. And that follows a 2.5% decline already logged over the past year. When a market this large starts drifting downward, you pay attention, because big markets usually have the demand to hold steady. Jacksonville doesn't. Two forces are working against it. First, the familiar one, overbuilding. Developers flooded the area with new homes during the boom, and now supply is outrunning demand. But the second factor is the one almost nobody talks about, the decline of remote work. Think about it. During the pandemic, thousands of people realized they could work from anywhere, so they packed up and chased sunshine and space in cities like Jacksonville. That migration was rocket fuel for prices. But now, the return to office wave is pulling those same workers back toward their old cities and offices. And when the work from anywhere crowd stops arriving, a huge chunk of Jacksonville's demand simply evaporates. Picture all those buyers who moved in for freedom and flexibility, now getting that dreaded email calling them back to headquarters. That's demand walking straight out the door. Here's your practical takeaway. If your entire reason for moving to a Florida city is, I can work from anywhere, pump the brakes and double-check that assumption. The return to office shift is quietly reshaping which Florida markets stay hot and which ones fade into decline. Don't bet your biggest purchase on a remote work reality that's rapidly disappearing beneath your feet. Number 7. Homosassa. Number 7 takes us somewhere quieter, wilder, more off the beaten path. The Nature Coast town of Homosassa. This is old Florida. Manatees drifting through crystal springs, fishing boats, moss-draped oaks. It's the kind of place people dream about for a peaceful retirement. But paradise, as it turns out, comes with a rising price tag that has nothing to do with the sticker on the listing. Home values in Homosassa are already down about 3%, currently hovering near $306,000, and Zillow's forecast points lower still. For a small, scenic community like this, that's a meaningful slide. And the reason cuts straight to the heart of Florida's biggest housing threat. Homosassa's Achilles heel is coastal exposure. These low-lying Gulf communities sit right in the crosshairs of rising flood risk. And here's the chain reaction that follows. And pay close attention, because it repeats all over this list. More flood risk means more expensive insurance. More expensive insurance makes it harder for buyers to qualify for a mortgage. And when buyers can't get approved, demand dries up, and prices get dragged down. It's a domino effect, and Homosassa is standing right at the front of the line. As one climate data scientist framed it, stronger storms and worse flooding lead to pricier insurance, which ultimately pushes home prices down. The very water that makes this place beautiful is the same water quietly draining its value. Here's your practical takeaway, and it might be the single most important rule on this entire list. Before you buy anywhere near the Florida coast, do two things first. Number 1, pull the flood zone map for the exact property. Number 2, get a real written insurance quote. Not a guess, not an estimate, an actual quote before you make an offer. That one number can quietly double your monthly cost or blow up your budget entirely. Know it before you fall in love. Number 6, Sebring. We've hit the halfway mark. Number 6 drops us deep into Florida's inland heartland, the small, sun-baked town of Sebring, famous for its historic racetrack and its slower, quieter pace of life. With an average home value hovering around $242,000, Sebring is one of the most affordable markets on this entire list. And that low price tag might tempt you into thinking it's a safe bet. Don't be so sure, because even at that bargain price, Sebring is already down nearly 2%, and Zillow expects the softening to continue. When a market this affordable still can't hold its value, something deeper is going on beneath the surface. The culprit here is thin demand, and this is a trap a lot of hopeful buyers fall into. Inland towns like Sebring don't have a major job engine pulling workers in. They don't have the glittering coastline pulling tourists and retirees in. What they have is a small, limited buyer pool, and that's the whole problem. When the broader Florida market catches a cold, these smaller inland towns catch pneumonia. There simply aren't enough buyers waiting in the wings to prop prices up when things cool off. Picture a charming, affordable home sitting on the market for months, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because the next buyer just isn't out there. That's the quiet reality of thin demand towns. Here's your practical takeaway, and it's a mindset shift that could save you from a costly mistake. Affordable does not automatically mean safe investment. A low price paired with weak demand can still lose you money. Cheap and shrinking is not a bargain, it's a slow leak. So before you buy in a place like Sebring, ask yourself the one question that separates smart buyers from stuck ones. Who is my next buyer going to be? If you can't answer that clearly and confidently, you should think very, very hard before signing. Number 5, Port St. Lucie. Number 5 is where the warning lights really start flashing red. Welcome to Port St. Lucie, the fast-growing city anchoring Florida's Treasure Coast. On the surface, everything looks golden. Sunshine, growth, new development. But dig one layer beneath that shine, and experts are quietly bracing for a genuine nosedive. Here's where it stands. The average home value in Port St. Lucie is climbing toward $400,000, but it's already slipped 3.4% over the past year. And the pros watching this market don't think that's the bottom. Not even close. They believe this town is standing right on the brink of a serious price collapse. And the reason cuts deep. Listen to this exact assessment from a real estate CEO watching Port St. Lucie closely. He said the area is seeing astronomical pricing for homes, far above what local incomes could realistically support. Then he dropped the line that should stop every buyer cold. He called it the common kiss of death for a housing market. Think about what that really means. When home prices float far above what the people who actually live and work in a town can afford, normal families get priced out from the very start. And once local buyers vanish, the whole market gets squeezed from both ends. Current owners can't sell, and new buyers can't get in. That's not a healthy market. That's a market running on fumes. Picture teachers, nurses, tradespeople, the backbone of any town, all looking at the listings and slowly realizing they've been completely locked out. When that happens, prices have nowhere to go but down. Here's your practical takeaway. And yes, it's the income to price rule again, because it's so critical it's earned a spot twice on this list. If the locals genuinely can't afford the local homes, that market is living on borrowed time. No exceptions. Number 4, Tampa. Now we crack into the top 4, and these are the heavy hitters, the big-name markets whose declines send ripples across the entire state. Kicking off this elite and troubled group at number 4, Tampa. One of Florida's crown jewel cities. Booming downtown, waterfront glamour, pro sports, endless demand. And yet, here it is, staring down a real, measurable drop. According to Realtor.com's 2026 forecast, Tampa home prices are projected to fall around 3.6% in 2026. For a market this size, with this much momentum behind it, that's not a rounding error, that's a genuine correction. When Tampa softens, the whole Gulf Coast feels it. But Tampa's specific weakness isn't overbuilding, and it isn't remote work. It's something sharper and scarier, the condo crisis. And this one deserves your full attention, because it's reshaping the entire Florida market. Here's what happened. After tragic building collapses, Florida passed tough new laws requiring older condo buildings to fully fund their structural reserves, the money set aside for major repairs. Sounds responsible, right? It is. But the bill for decades of underfunding is now coming due all at once, and Tampa's aging condo towers are getting slammed with special assessments. Surprise charges sometimes reaching into the tens of thousands, even 6 figures per unit. Imagine buying your dream condo, settling in, and then getting a letter demanding $80,000 for structural repairs. That's the nightmare buyers are now desperate to avoid, so they're fleeing older condos entirely, and prices are cratering as a result. Here's your practical takeaway, and it could save you from financial disaster. If you're eyeing any Florida condo, especially one built before the year 2000, do not make an offer until you demand and read the building's reserve study and its full special assessment history. That single stack of paperwork can be the difference between a smart buy and a six-figure catastrophe. Number 3. Punta Gorda. We're into the top 3 now, and this is where the gentle slides turn into genuine freefalls. Number 3 is Punta Gorda, a picturesque harbor town on Florida's southwest Gulf Coast. For years, it was a retiree's dream, boating, sunsets over Charlotte Harbor, that laid-back coastal charm. But that dream is now getting hammered, and the price drops here are steep. We're talking declines in the range of a punishing 6%. So what turned this slice of paradise into a warning sign? One word, the word that haunts this entire list: insurance. Punta Gorda is ground zero for Florida's insurance shock. It sits squarely in a direct hurricane corridor, and it has taken hit after hit from major storms over the years. Every one of those storms sends insurance premiums soaring higher. And here's the cruel irony. The exact people who made Punta Gorda flourish, the retirees living on fixed incomes, are precisely the people who can't absorb a homeowner's insurance bill that keeps climbing thousands of dollars year after year. So they're getting priced out. They're selling, they're leaving, and as those buyers vanish, demand collapses and prices tumble right along with them. Picture a couple who saved their whole lives for that quiet harbor retirement, only to open an insurance renewal that costs more than their mortgage. That's not a rare horror story here. It's becoming the norm. Here's your practical takeaway, and it's a subtle but crucial upgrade to everything we've said about insurance. In high hurricane zones like Punta Gorda, don't just look at today's insurance cost. Look at the trajectory. These premiums have a vicious habit of jumping year after year after year. So when you budget for tomorrow's bill, not just today's, because in a town like this, today's number is almost guaranteed to be the cheapest it'll ever be. Number 2, Northport. Number 2, and brace yourself, because the drops from here on are brutal. Meet Northport, part of the fast-growing Sarasota-Bradenton region on the Gulf Coast. And the number attached to this town is genuinely staggering. According to Realtor, comes 2026 forecast, Northport home prices are projected to plunge a stunning 8.9% in a single year. Not over a decade, not over 5 years, in 1 year. So how does a town fall this fast? Because Northport isn't being hit by one of the forces we've discussed. It's being crushed by the perfect storm all at once. This is where every warning on this list collides. First, massive overbuilding. Northport saw explosive, aggressive new construction during the pandemic frenzy. Homes went up everywhere, betting on endless demand. That demand didn't hold. Second, coastal insurance costs. As a Gulf Coast community, it carries all the hurricane and flood exposure that's sending premiums through the roof and scaring buyers away. Third, buyers who have simply hit their limit. Between the prices, the insurance, and the sheer glut of available homes, the pool of people willing and able to buy has dried up. Put it all together and you get the ugliest equation in real estate. Supply way up, demand way down. Streets lined with unsold new homes, sellers slashing prices, and almost nobody stepping up to buy. That's the reality unfolding across Northport right now. Here's your practical takeaway. When you spot the deadly combination of new construction sprawl stacked on top of coastal risk, understand this. You're looking at a market with almost no cushion to protect it, nothing to break the fall. So if you already own in Northport, steel yourself. Your home's value may take years, not months, to climb back toward its previous peak. And if you're buying, tread with extreme caution. Number 1, Cape Coral. And here it is. Number 1, the town Zillow's data flags above every other in the entire state, and frankly, above nearly every market in the entire country. Ladies and gentlemen, the epicenter of Florida's housing warning, Cape Coral. Cape Coral isn't just declining, it's crashing. According to Realtor.com's 2026 forecast, this canal-laced Gulf Coast city is projected to drop a jaw-dropping 10.2% in a single year, cementing it as one of the coolest, fastest-falling housing markets in the entire United States. And values are already down somewhere between 7 and 9% over just the past 12 months. This is the big one. So why does Cape Coral wear the crown? Because it got hit by every single force on this list, all at the same time. It's the three-headed storm made real. 1. It rode a massive out-of-state buyer boom, mostly retirees flooding in during the frenzy. Experts now openly admit that boom overshot. It climbed far higher than reality could support. 2. It's a canal-lined coastal city, drenched in flood and hurricane exposure, carrying some of the most punishing insurance costs in the state. 3. It built aggressively during the boom, leaving behind a glut of homes with far too few buyers to fill them. As one CEO put it bluntly, folks will start to realize the market is a bit overshot. Translation: the party's over, and the bill has arrived. Here's your practical takeaway. Cape Coral is the ultimate cautionary tale, a place where hype-fueled mania slammed head-on into real, structural costs it could never outrun. If you buy here right now, you may be catching a falling knife, but if you're patient and disciplined, a genuine deal could emerge once the dust settles, likely a year or two out. Just don't rush in while it's still tumbling. So what do you actually do with all of this? Let me hand you the 3 rules that cut straight through the noise. Rule 1. Insurance before emotion. Never, ever fall in love with a Florida home until you have a real, written insurance quote in your hand. In this market, insurance isn't a footnote, it's the deciding factor. Rule 2. Read the reserves. If it's a condo, the HOA reserve study tells you whether a 5- or 6-figure surprise bill is lurking around the corner. No document, no deal. Period. Rule 3. Follow the locals, not the hype. If working families in a town can't afford that town's homes, the price has nowhere to go but down. That one rule alone would have flagged half the towns on this list. But here's the flip side, and this genuinely matters. Falling prices are not bad news for everyone. If you're a patient, prepared, well-researched buyer, this is the most negotiating power Florida buyers have had in years. The Florida dream isn't dead. The price of admission is just finally floating back down to earth. If this breakdown helped you see the Florida market more clearly, do me one quick favor. Smash that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach other people standing at the edge of one of the biggest financial decisions of their lives. And if you want more no-nonsense breakdowns like this, subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss what's coming next. Now I want to hear from you down in the comments. Is your Florida town on this list? Are you buying, selling, or waiting it out? Drop it below. I read every single one. And if you're serious about timing this market right, go watch my next video on the Florida towns where prices are actually going UP in 2026. Because yes, a few of them are quietly rising. It's the perfect follow-up to everything you just learned.